Good evening to you. We really appreciate you that you created time to join us on Prime Edition tonight, the 3rd day of November, the year 2021. A comprehensive news bulletin lined up for you. We are going to be focusing on the education sector and be letting you in on what the Ministry of Education has to say with regards to the role of parents during the upcoming days when the schools are going to be breaking for midterm, coming at a time when we've experienced a surge in the cases of school fires. Parents have a role to play with regards to how they are going to help, learners to be able to deal with such issues. And of course, we'll be telling you more about what the country is doing when it comes to the issue of focusing on the voter registration exercise. An update we got for you contained in our comprehensive news bulletin. Tonight, I'll be doing this alone. John Jacob Kuria is away on assignment. My name is Serfine Achieng, Ouma. Let's first get the top stories.
Take charge. CS Magoha now tells guardians as cases of unrest in schools persist.
Be held in Birmingham in 2022 and now declare the games officially launched here in Kenya.
Commonwealth Games are here. First Lady receives Queen's Baton Relay. In our special feature, we'll delve into the sad practice of lynching purported witches in KBC County.
All right, welcome on board. Our sign language interpreter is Anne Wangeshi. Later on, we'll be joined by Caroline Njenga for the latest in the world of business and Richard Munga on the sporting arena. Right now, let's begin with the top story. Education Cabinet Secretary says the half-term break announced by the government on Tuesday applies for both the secondary and primary school learners. Magoha appealed to guardians to cancel their children during the break in the coming 15 days. Magoha's remarks come even as a spate of school fires continues, with the latest 2 incidents reported in KBC County.
The Ministry of Education had announced on Tuesday, without much clarity, that students will be granted a midterm break. It was assumed that the break was only meant for secondary school students in the wake of a spate of unrest that has seen wanton destruction of property.
I would like to say that our circular for the half-term, which was released by Dr. Juan yesterday, is for all students. It's not only for high school students. So that circular is for all children, and by the grace of God, on the 19th of this month, all children go home. The ones in boarding schools, even the ones in day schools, they stay at home with their parents for a few days just to suck the breast, and then they come back.
Magoha urging parents to be a source of guidance to their children during the short midterm break. The latest spike in school fires has stoked fears that it may be yet another season for euphoric chaos in secondary schools. 2 fire incidences have been reported in 2 different schools in KBC County.
The area member of parliament bought 50 mattresses and 50 blankets because we still have some space remaining, so that the students will be able to share their affordable accommodation as we are making arrangements or putting up additional boarding facilities.
One incident was reported at Nyabigena Boys High School in South Mogirango and the other at Amabuko Secondary School in Nyaribari, Masaba. Jacqueline Masharia for Prime Edition.
Still focusing on the education sector, fear has gripped parents and pupils of Kamwangi Primary School in Gatundu North Sub-County, where more than 10 girls in grade 2 and 3 have allegedly been possessed by evil spirits, disrupting learning. According to witnesses, the girls were crawling, wailing and uttering incomprehensible words before falling unconscious.
On Friday last week, in which 6 girls were reportedly possessed by spirits.
We find a few pupils fall away, but what we usually do is invite the medical personnel, and then what happens is that they are able to go through or assess the situation, and what was found is that they had no charities.
The area sub-county education officer, the school board and some parents took the affected pupils to the nearby Igegania Level 4 hospital.
The situation was known that there was no medical issues surrounding the falling of the children. So what now they did as a community is to have those pastors, the parents, the staff and the board of that school. They decided to pray together with the children, and by late afternoon they were all settled and well.
Mudhomi said medical results showed the girls were fine and they were released to their homes. Mudhomi cautioned locals against condemning the school and accusing it of harboring evil spirits, assuring them that the investigations were ongoing to unearth the cause of the mayhem.
And now on to an update on the ongoing COP26 conference in Scotland. President Uhuru Kenyatta has urged Scottish investors to take advantage of the improving business environment in Kenya to invest more in the country and the African continent. The president thanking the investors for the growing number of Scottish businesses in the country, saying Kenyan government was committed to continue supporting their investments to thrive. The head of state spoke on Wednesday in Edinburgh, Scotland, during a business meeting with the Scottish Africa Business Association. During the roundtable meeting, the president and the Scottish captains of industry explored new investment opportunities in agriculture, water, renewable energy and fisheries, among other sectors. The Scottish business leaders assured President Kenyatta of their commitment to continue supporting Kenya's socio-economic transformation through win-win economic partnerships. President Kenyatta is in Scotland to attend the ongoing 26th UN Climate Change Conference.
That we will be working with the Giants Club, and it's implementing charity, which is Space for Giants, to build an enabling environment to attract private investment into our carbon sinks. This, I believe, will provide a clear pathway for private sector investors to invest in the restoration and protection of our carbon sinks, ensure that investments are made in a way that generates the highest possible return to communities who live in and around carbon sinks, and generate royalties for our treasuries.
Moving on, more than 23 counties could soon be food insecure. The weatherman has warned that failed or low rains being experienced countrywide could exacerbate the drought situation. The Kenya Meteorological Department has called for the adoption of mitigation measures, including water harvesting, to avert dire consequences of drought. Yusuf Farah with that report.
The Kenya Meteorological Department has issued an alert on the worsening drought situation owing to the continued rainfall failure. The November weather outlook indicates that the Lake Victoria Basin, highlands west of Rift Valley are likely to experience near average rainfall. The southeastern lowlands, northwestern, northeastern and the coastal strip are likely to experience between near average to below average rainfall. This does not augur well for November, the peak month for the October, November and December short rains. Assistant Director of Climate Services at the Meteorological Department, Dr. Richard Mwita, attributes the situation to La Nina.
Na ambao unajidhihirisha katika bahari ya Pasifiki ya kati na pia Pasifiki ya mashariki. Kwamba kuna msukumo wa viwango vya joto katika bahari hizi na ambao kawaida ukiwa upo chini ya kiwango cha kawaida husababisha hali ya ukame katika maeneo mengi Afrika Mashariki.
Should the conditions persist, the country might be staring at a worse drought situation in a larger part of the country.
Kisa na maana ni kwamba iwapo mvua ambayo itashuhudiwa katika maeneo haya mengine kama vile mwambao wa pwani, maeneo yaliyo kusini mashariki mwa nchi kama vile Ukambani, ni kwamba huenda isifikie kiwango cha mvua ambacho huwa kinatarajiwa katika mwezi huu wa Novemba, na labda pia katika msimu mzima wa vuli ambao ni Oktoba hadi Disemba.
The expected near average rainfall could provide sufficient soil moisture for agricultural productions but may hamper post harvesting activities.
Huenda labda yakaathirika katika swala kuu la uvunaji, kwa sababu huenda ule uvunaji ukawa umelingana na ile hali ya mvua. Kuna ile sehemu ambayo mmea hauhitaji maji mengi. Kwa hiyo wakulima labda itabidi wawe waangalifu, waangalie katika kule kupima ni jinsi gani wanaweza wakaweza kutengana ama kujiathari na labda chakula chao baada ya kukua kisije kikaharibiwa labda na kuwepo kwa mvua nyingi.
The Meteorological Department has advised Kenyans to adopt mitigation measures as the dry spell may prevail beyond January, which is considered a generally dry month.
Labda kile kizuri ni kujaribu kuteka na kutega maji iwapo mvua itaendelea kuonekana katika maeneo yale, japo itakuwa kidogo. Wao wamejipanga labda kibinafsi, labda swala kula kuweza kutathmini bajeti zao kama huenda zikawasimamia katika swala kula chakula.
The department is now calling on a collective responsibility from Kenyans, the national and county governments as well, in their bid to inform Kenyans on the best practices to better the lives around them as far as weather is concerned. Yusufar reporting for Prime Edition from the Met Department, Nairobi.
All right, that report by Yusufara will be taking us to our first break. But when we come back, we got an interesting feature for you. In Kisii County, there has been a surge in lynching of elderly persons. The perpetrators claim this is their relentless war against witchcraft. But human rights defenders actually say that this is actually motivated by the thirst for land grabbing in that particular region. So which is the issue? Why these killings? And how is it affecting families in that particular region? Nisi Okoth will be taking us to Kisii County through her report to understand what is going on. But for now, we are going to be taking a very short break. We are coming back with much more. Do stay with us.
Ndipo mimi nakwisha toa hii maneno mara kwa mara kwa kuwahimiza nyinyi wanawake muingie katika bunge. Wengi wenu mnakataa, wengine wenu mnaogopa, sababu pale ndani ya bunge ndio penye matata, ndio penye mambo yanatokea huko. Na nyinyi mimi nawaonyesha kwamba nyinyi mna nguvu zaidi ya wanaume. Kwa nini nyinyi hapana chagua wanawake muwapigie kura waingie huko kwenye mambo? Nani anawakataza hiyo kitu?
Kenya Defence Forces, KDF, announces the recruitment of General Service Officers, GSO Cadets, Specialist Officers, General Duty Recruits, Tradesmen and Women, and Constables scheduled for the month of November 2021. Listen to Radio Taifa during the entire month of November 2021 for details of the recruitment process. Then grab your local newspaper, The Daily Nation, 7th of November. The Star on the 5th of November, while the Standard will have those details 14th of November and 9th of November on MyGov inside this Standard newspaper. The People's Daily on the 8th of November and 12th of November. Remember, no one can influence the recruitment process because bribery and other acts of corruption are against the law. Report any suspicious activities or characters to the nearest police station or military camp or call hotline numbers 0726419709 or 01203000599. KDF recruitment is absolutely free to all.
Serikali ya Rais Uhuru Kenyatta imeweka mikakati kabambe ya kuinua viwango vya tasnia ya michezo nchini Kenya.
My government has and will continue to support you.
Mikakati hii ni pamoja na ujumuishaji wa michezo kwenye mtaala mpya wa elimu ya umilisi KBC.
So if they start introducing that at the lower level and then this kid grows knowing that he's an athlete, he'll get into very high levels at a very young age.
Kwa uhondo huu,
now we cross over into the world of politics. Deputy President William Ruto has scoffed at plans to eject him from the Jubilee Party for allegedly shifting his allegiance to the United Democratic Movement. Ruto, who spoke during his bottom-up approach charm offensive in Kiambu and Murang'a counties, claimed those targeting him and his allies are supporting the ODM party and that the worst thing would be to fold the Jubilee Party.
Of an upcoming National Delegates Conference by the ruling Jubilee Party, where top on the agenda would be to ratify coalition talks with like-minded parties, and a plot to eject Deputy President William Ruto have not gone down well with him. Ruto, who was in Kiambu and Murang'a counties to popularize his hustler narrative, claimed no one has the liberty to kick him from the Jubilee Party and accused a section of key Jubilee leaders of dallying with their opponents.
Vile mulivunja chama ya Jubilee na mkaisambaratisha, sisi tayari tumejipanga ndani ya chama ya kazi ni kazi, kwa sababu sisi sio watu wa kitendawili. Yani nyinyi mnatuambia kwamba tumepoteza kabisa akili, tumekosa mpango, tumeishiwa, mpaka sisi tunaambiwa ati twende tufuate mtu ya kitendawili. Hiyo ni madharau makubwa sana, my friend.
Nyinyi wenyewe ambao mlikuja kutangaza ati ya kwamba mnafukuza sisi, muko katika chama ya ODM. Sio kufukuza watu. Mimi ningewauliza kwa heshima, hiyo chama ilikuwa inaitwa Jubilee, tufanya liquidation, kila mtu arudishiwe share yake.
Ruto said as such, the disarray in Jubilee Party has derailed its agenda.
Hawa wageni walitutembelea, walikuja na mambo mengi, wakalete rege, wakalete kitendawili, wakazusha mpaka ile program yetu ikachelewa. Mimi nataka niwaambie hivi, tukienda mbele lazima tukubaliane vile tutaenda mbele katika mpango tulikuwa nayo. Na ndio mulisikia juzi pale Kirinyaga nikisema mwaka ujao ile kazi ambayo hatukutimiza ya Big Four tayari tumeipangia ndani ya bottom up.
Ruto, who also launched the Wakili Edward Murio Pesa Mfukoni Bursary Fund that targets 10,000 vulnerable learners in Gatanga constituency, however said he'll fulfill the promises if elected as president next year.
Sisi tumejipanga sawa sawa, na naamini ya kwamba mwaka ujao kwa mapenzi ya Mungu kazi ambayo tulisema itaendelea, kazi itaendelea, kitenda hili itaanza, rege itakwama.
For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mungai.
All right, some good news for you in case you have not registered as a voter yet. The enhanced mass voter registration exercise has been extended to November 9th. The exercise was initially meant to end on November 2nd, but the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission was compelled to make the extension by the courts. Here is that report.
KBC says the voter registration exercise will stretch until November 9th, 2021. Pending the hearing of their appeal against the extension to be heard on Thursday. The IEBC warned that the extension by the High Court in Eldoret had far-reaching ramifications on their budget. The body confirmed that it is struggling financially and that extension of the voter registration exercise will deplete their meager resources. Yusuf Hilo, Prime Edition.
Now, 103 people have tested positive for COVID-19 from a sample size of 4,617 tested in the last 24 hours. The positivity rate now stands at 2.2%. The total number of confirmed positive cases is now at 253,512. Cumulative tests so far conducted are 2.72 million. No death was reported today. According to the Ministry of Health, a total of 5.4 million vaccines have been administered across the country. Now moving on along the corridors of justice, the Law Society of Kenya has filed a petition requesting the court to order the release of lawyer Professor Wilson Nandwa and his client Elgiva Bwire within 24 hours. LSK wants the court to prevail upon the Attorney General, the Director of Public Prosecution, mobile service provider Safaricom and the police to facilitate the request. Wilson Nandwa and his client disappeared on the 28th of October. Serfine with details of that report.
7 days since the disappearance of lawyer Professor Wilson Hassan Nandwa and his client Elgiva Bwire, the Law Society of Kenya has now filed a petition against the Attorney General, the Director of Public Prosecution, the Inspector General of Police, Safaricom Limited, and the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, seeking for Professor Nandwa and his client to be produced. LSK has also sought the court to compel Safaricom Limited to supply phone call records, BTS records, and logs of lawyer Professor Nandwa and his client Elgiva Bwire from Thursday the 28th of October at 9 a.m. to the 2nd of November 2021 at midnight.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, in conjunction with the judiciary, has launched a system review for the judiciary focusing on areas of project management, registry and records management.
Fighting and winning the war against corruption will not be won by isolated and sporadic acts focused on incidents of individuals caught in the act, as it were.
We shall have improved in the efficiency of delivery of service.
To declare systems reviews into project management, register and records management processes of the judiciary officially launched.
According to the EACC chair, Eliud Bukala, 2 teams will undertake the review focusing on project management and registry and records management. That will take 25 and 43 weeks respectively. In the last 5 years, 169 corruption cases resulted in convictions, 25 billion shillings were recovered, and the EACC averted 30.4 billion shillings. The International Anti-Corruption Day will be held on the 9th of December 2021 in Mombasa and Isiolo counties. For Prime Edition, I'm Serafina Robi.
All right, and now let me take you back a little bit. Mid-October 2021, that's about 3 weeks ago. This is what happened. 4 elderly persons, 3 women and a man, were literally frog-marched from their homes in Kisii County to an open field. They did not return to their houses. They were lynched. So what triggered the killings? Our reporter Nisi Mano answers that question in her special feature, Lynching of the Witches.
A village in shock. 3 families have just been thrown into mourning. This is at Marani in Kisii County. The deceased did not die of sickness or accident. No. They were frog-marched from their houses to an open field where they were hacked by machetes and then set ablaze. This after the 3, a man and 3 women, were allegedly linked to witchcraft.
Kukuwa na kitu ya kuthibitisha ama expert ya kusema kulikuwa uchawi mahali, na hata hao watu wenye waliuliwa ama walichomwa sio watu ambao walipatikana nje ya boma zao, ni watu walikuwa miji yao, waliendewa asubuhi wakachukuliwa na watu na hao watu wakawaua. Ni watu wamechomwa katika hali isiyoeleweka.
The lynching happened on October the 17th. Fast forward to 10 days later, A somber mood is discernible in Mwanmonari village at the burial ceremony of one of the victims. 62-year-old Sigara Onkware. Sigara was among the 4 lynched on the same day on claims of practicing witchcraft. Others include Jemema Mirongo, who is 60, 57-year-old Agnes Ototo, and 85-year-old Sindege Mayaka. The day preceding Sigara's funeral, we visited some of her family members, yet to come to terms with what befell their kin.
Mama yangu kitu na mwe kitu maneno ya samba. Wanamwona hapa wanamkimbiza na panga. Tena yakuja sisi mama yangu alichoa mara kwa nini wakimbiza wafanya nini? Wakaenda.
Nimelelewa hapa. Sijai sikia ati ni mchawi hata siku moja. Sasa hiyo mambo imekuja jana kigafla. Tumeshinda nini mbaya?
While sorcery might sound an outdated practice, it is a familiar and common cultural practice in some African communities, appreciated and feared in equal measure.
We must really understand where this came from. We have soothsayers, we've had diviners, we've had healers, we have medicine men and women, and all these other categories that have all been lumped into the thing of witchcraft.
In this case in Kisii, it is suspected that relatives are setting up their kin for mob justice with a view to eliminate particularly the elderly, the widows, or the mentally sick, to dispossess them of property or fast-track the inheritance process.
To therefore lynch older women on whatever grounds is unacceptable, traditionally, culturally, but also by law. The core issue is really land, property.
So worrying is the trend that Kisii County Governor James Ongwae has appointed a task force to unearth reasons behind the extrajudicial killings.
The women who died in a shameful manner in the hands of fellow villagers deserve that such justice, the just governance of men.
Na hii kamati ikimaliza ni maneno, baada ya uchunguzi itafanywa hapa na sehemu zote za Kisii County.
6 suspects were arrested over Marani witchcraft killings and arraigned before Justice Rose Ougo. They were Amos Nyakundi, Crispin Ogeto, Peter Angwenyi, Brian Mecha, Ronald Ombati, and Justin Morara, who pleaded not guilty to murder charges. Justice Ougo set November the 9th of 2021 as the date for hearing application for the suspect's release on bond, while the hearing of the case will commence on the 16th of December, the year 2021. One can only hope that this alarming trend of cold blood murder of the old persons will come to an end. Old is gold, the saying goes. But with the plight of the old in this case, is old still gold in this age? Reporting for KBC, Amnesty Imano.
To get Philippians 1:6 as your skiza tune, dial star 811 star 965 hash.
And I'm certain that God, who began the good work within you, will continue his work until it is finally finished on the day when Jesus Christ returns. Philippians chapter 1 verse 6.
To get Philippians 1:6 as your skiza tune, dial star 811 star 965 hash. Star 811 star 965 hash.
We take it on at the right time. Honorable Musalia Mudavadi.
The Honorable Mutahi Kagwe.
Chief Justice Martha Karambuko.
This is KBC, is the voice of Kenya.
Asking the right questions.
I don't know how it made you feel as speaker who is presiding over a house where members can be compromised with 10,000 shillings.
We keep our guests comfortable, a mission to ensure our audience gets a complete story.
For a few hours or so, I thought this is it. My end has come.
If really we want an end of this pandemic, we must fight.
Our goal, to tell it as it is for the benefit of our viewer.
And I'm sure we will have good discussions. All right. That will make probably your viewers understand KDF better.
With 21 radio outlets.
During a live interview on KBC TV, Chief of Defense Forces General Robert Kibosha.
Jaji mkuu kwa mara ya kwanza katika mahojiano yake ya kipekee na runinga ya KBC Channel 1.
And 2 TV stations covering over 90% of the entire country. The message always gets home. KBC, the home of on-air TV interviews. The Amazons.
I can't believe that she's doing this. How could my sister do something like this?
Jealous? Tough luck, because Constanza is now my wife. No.
Now I have my mother. So go away, nanny. Get out of my wedding, my house, my party, and my life. Go on, get out!
You will not get financial support from me. You heard me. You will not get a single cent from me.
You scared, Deanna Maria might tell everyone that you were the one that bankrupted this.
All right, and welcome on this other side. This is our interview segment on Prime Edition. Tonight we feature the Secretary General of the ANC party, Simon Gakuru Kamau. We want to talk about how they're putting their house in order for the 2022 general election, and of course being part of the One Kenya Alliance. How have they put their case on the table? What is it that we should be expecting when it comes to the ANC party? Thank you so much, sir, for creating time for us tonight.
Thank you very much for having me, Serfine. It's a pleasure, and good evening, viewers.
All right. I know it's a very busy season for you, especially as a political party, trying to position yourself strategically for the 2022 general election. First of all, let's begin by you telling us, you know, how you've settled into the One Kenya Alliance and what is your stake as the ANC party, because the One Kenya Alliance is yet to give the way forward on who is going to be the presidential flag bearer, and also trying to convince the populace in terms of what is the agenda for the nation. It has not been very clear what the One Kenya Alliance is seeking. So kindly just tell us, you know, what is it that why should we concentrate and focus on One Kenya Alliance?
Very, very interesting question. And I was very sad to discuss the youth involvement in governance, national governance, because that is a topic that we had earlier been told would be on the table. But either way, it's also very interesting that we also discuss the issues that are currently in the political market. And I would start by saying from the onset that first, I don't speak for the One Kenya Alliance. I speak for the Amani National Congress.
Yes.
The Amani National Congress is a part of the One Kenya Alliance, and our principals have been working very hard to see to it that we have some sort of a coalition. It's a very nascent, sort of fluid coalition of parties: the ANC, KANU, Ford Kenya, and Wiper. And what I would say is One Kenya Alliance is still very, very young. It's still a toddler in you know, if you allow me to use that term. Mm-hmm. And so my party leader, His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi, is obviously and arguably, if you allow me to use that term, the most formidable candidate, presidential candidate in that coalition going by whatever considerations one may have in mind. And it's not an easy task or an easy job to bring these ambitious politicians together and get them to agree. But as a party, we have taken a position that His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi will be on the ballot. And we are persuading our partners in Oka. We are talking to them, we are lobbying, we are trying to reason with them why Musalia Mudavadi is best suited not only to be the flag bearer for Oka, but also to be president of this country after Uhuru Kenyatta.
What are the chances of him backing another presidential candidate? Because this is not his first attempt to the presidency. What are the chances that this time around is going to go all the way?
Our party and our party structures have already endorsed him as our presidential flag bearer. And I can already see through what has been in the media, and also see through your question, the answer you want. I can tell you here on national TV, without fear of contradiction, without blinking my eye, Musalia Mudavadi will be on the ballot come 2022, whether through Oka or not. As I told you, we are yet to see whether Oka will actually survive this political season. And our party structures and the highest party structure, the Amani Council, has already endorsed him as our flag bearer. So he already has the ticket, the ANC ticket, that was given through the party structures, through the party constitution, and following all the procedures, and of course in total compliance with the Political Parties Act under the ORPP. So the point here that I would want to emphasize in my capacity as Secretary General of the party is that whether with Oka or not, Musalia Mudavadi will be on the ballot, because it is not his individual decision to make. It is a decision of the party. It is a decision of the party structures. It is a decision of the 3 million registered members of our party. And I have seen headlines, I have seen newspapers talking about pressure being mounted on him to support candidate that or candidate that. And what we are telling whoever thinks that they can pressurize him is that you have to put this pressure on the 3 million of us, the members of the party, not him, because it is not his decision to make. He has to consult each and every of the 3 million registered members at ORPP. Okay? If he thinks that he would change that decision that has already been made by the party. So going forward, we are not expecting to support anybody for the presidency. We welcome anybody to come on board, either through Oka or just joining ANC, because we want everybody's vote.
All right, so come the 9th of August, Musalia Mudavadi will be on that ballot as a presidential candidate.
Absolutely, yes.
All right. Just to clarify, beyond the party and the party structures, what game plan have you put in place as a party to gain that national appeal? There's been a lot of concern and critics with regards to his ability to mobilize the masses. We've seen political rallies of other contenders, but there's still a long way to go when it comes to, how he has marshaled the national, force in his presidential bid. What is happening with that regard?
You see, Serfine, we see people in rallies, huge crowds. But what you must know is that those rallies don't necessarily translate into votes. And we want to engage Kenyans using logic, not just creating a euphoria whereby you won't take advantage of people's emotions, you won't take advantage of people's economic situations, so that you can, in one way or the other, you want to arouse emotions, and then you appear as if you're the savior, so that in the heat of passion, they end up supporting you and not logically knowing what you're offering on the table if you became president of this country. Our policy and our agenda is to engage people using logic, is to engage people through consultations. We want to talk to Kenyans. We want Kenyans to understand what Musalia Mudavadi and our party has to offer for them if they give us a chance to form the next government. So our approach is a bit different. And that's why you see people are asking, I mean, we are not seeing you in huge rallies.
Yeah.
We are not seeing you with mobs and crowds and people cheering.
And he's in his backyard in the Western region, still there's a bit of struggle on who is the kingpin.
I don't think that is.
How is this going to affect his national politics?
I don't think that is a situation. I have been to, personally I'm from Mount Kenya region, I'm from Murang'a County, but I have been to Western on many occasions, and I can tell you that Musalia Mudavadi is the political kingpin of that region. And again, where do we want to reduce our candidate to just a regional sort of community leader?
Charity begins at home. That's
charity
what they
begins
say.
at home, and I can tell you, back at home, Musalia Mudavadi calls the political shots, and you will see it. I can assure you that. They will vote to him man to man, woman to woman, 99.9%. I can almost guarantee you that.
I wish you could meet here on, say, 11th or,
The only issue here is, and what our people require is that our candidate must be on the ballot.
Right.
Okay? But again, as I told you, Musalia Mudavadi is a national figure. He's an international figure. And he's working with Kenyans of, across the board from all parts of Kenya, because we want to bring in a government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Let me take you there. So for him to be on that ballot paper and for him to win and be given that mandate to serve this country as the 5th president, he has to offer the country something. So what is it that is on the table for Kenyans to explore when it comes to what Musalia Mudavadi as a presidential hopeful is offering the country? This is what I'll do for you. What is that?
Maybe we could first start by a very brief, description or sort of a bio of who is Musalia Mudavadi. Viewers may be interested to know that Musalia Mudavadi has served this country for the largest part of his life, because he started his public career service at the age of 27 as a member of parliament for Sabatia. He later served as Minister for Marketing and Cooperatives. He has served as Minister for Local Government. But even more important, he is one of the youngest, he was one of the youngest Ministers of Finance, because at the age of 33, he was Minister of Finance. And if you look at the achievement that he made when he was Minister of Finance, you'll be left with no doubt that he has been nurtured properly. He has been properly prepared. He has been oriented to serve in the high office of president. You may also be very interested to know that he has also served as Deputy Prime Minister in this republic. He has served as the second highest office of Vice President. As we speak now, he's a party leader. He has also been in opposition.
So what is he offering us?
I'm coming there.
Yes.
So he's the kind of a leader that has everything it takes, understands statecraft, understands how government is run, and his rallying call is, we need a working economy. We need to see an economy that serves everybody, an inclusive growth in the economy, whereby it's not just for a few people probably that have had the advantage of time and access to capital, but an economy that is going to reward young people's innovation, young people's ideas, young people's creativeness, an economy that is going to make sure that we have properly working value chain for agriculture when it comes to manufacturing and all that. He's the kind of a leader saying we need to reduce the public debt because this country has overborrowed. And even most of this money that has been borrowed has actually ended up in corruption. Are you getting me?
Right.
So he's saying we need to renegotiate the debt, restructure the debt, make sure we clear off this debt and put this country back on its track and its feet.
Thank you so much, Simon Gakuru Kamau, the Secretary of ANC Party. We should be picking up this conversation very soon so that we can also talk about what the ANC Party has in store when it comes to the youth agenda in this particular country. But that is all we could cover in the little time that we had tonight on the road to 2022. How is the ANC Party putting their house together for that particular journey? Right now, we are going to be crossing over into the world of business in just a bit. Carol Njenga is coming up with that. Do stay with us. What?
Welcome back. We now take a look at the day's business. My name is Carol Jenger. Now, the Capital Markets Authority has issued 2 full licenses to coffee marketers. The authority has further extended provisional licenses to 2 other coffee brokers by a further 6 months to allow them to fully comply with the new coffee regulations. The development comes at a time when CMA is locked in a tussle with the management of the Nairobi Coffee Exchange over the admission of new brokers. The 2 coffee brokers, Kip Kellyon Brokerage Company and Murang'a County Coffee Dealers, have been given full permits to carry out coffee brokerage services at the Nairobi Coffee Exchange. Capital Markets Authority has further extended 2 provisional licenses granted to Mount Elgon Coffee Marketing Agency Limited and United Eastern Kenyan Coffee Marketing Company Limited by 6 months to 30th April 2022 to give them more time to come into full compliance. CMA Chief Executive Wycliffe Shamaya noted the authority is engaging stakeholders in the coffee subsector to ensure that various players in the value chain are brought into full compliance with the Coffee Exchange Regulations 2020. The new coffee regulations was meant to take effect on July 1st, but was postponed to the end of the year to allow more time for preparations. There has, however, been confusion over the implementation of the new laws as the Ministry of Agriculture and CMA battle over who has control of the crop. The new regulations require brokers to send farmers money to direct settlement system, a departure from the current one where the funds are sent to marketers before paying it out to growers. The Capital Markets Coffee Exchange Regulations 2020, which were gazetted in April, gave the authority the mandate to license the coffee exchange and brokers. The authority is mandated to regulate the structured spot commodity markets in Kenya. However, their access to the trading floor remains in limbo due to an ongoing standoff with the Coffee Exchange Management and the Capital Markets Authority over licensing rights. Now we focus now on poultry farming, where Kenya is banking on the improved indigenous chicken to boost egg and meat production. The subsector that is reeling under the high cost of production is currently producing 60% of poultry meat and 50% of eggs demand, with Uganda supplying the rest. The Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization says the improved chicken is able to produce close to 250 eggs annually, which is more than double that's produced by the indigenous chickens. Kenya's poultry population is estimated at 42 million birds, of which 82% are indigenous chicken, 9% commercial layers, and 7.4% broilers. However, the subsector is facing major challenges due to the high cost of poultry feeds and the influx of cheaply imported eggs and chicken meat from Uganda. Poultry farmers claim that over 200 metric tons of processed chicken meat are being imported tax-free from Uganda every week. The Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization has been researching new breeds to improve poultry production. Carol has developed various breeds that have the capacity to double egg production.
Kuku tulianza tukaifumbua na ndio sasa siku ya leo tumekuja kuonyesha wakulima ambao wameshachukua kwa wingi. Ukiangalia Kenya mzima hii kuku ya Carol tumesambaza karibu 1,000,000.
Lengo letu ni kuhakikisha kwamba wakulima wanapata mafunzo bora kuhusu ufugaji wa kuku, haswa kuku ambayo iko improved, kuku ambayo imefanyiwa utafiti na wanasayansi kutoka kwa shirika la Carol.
Carol says the high-yielding, fast-maturing indigenous chicken are easy to maintain and disease-resistant, that has the ability to lay 230 to 250 eggs in a year, doubling the yield capacity of ordinary indigenous chicken.
Uzuri wa hii kuku ni kwamba inakuwa haraka sana. Ukifikia mwezi wa 4 itakuwa imesha kutoka kwa kifaranga, itakuwa imeshaanza kutaka mayai. na pia itakuwa imeshafika uzito kama kilo 1.5 ambayo itakuwa tayari ni nyama ambayo inaweza kutumiwa.
The common indigenous ones lay up to 80 to 100 eggs annually. Carol is now urging poultry farmers across the region to embrace the improved indigenous chicken to boost farmers' egg production.
Mahali popote walipo kwamba waweze kufuga hawa kuku wa Calro improved indigenous chicken, na pia watumie mbolea yake kuweza kusalisha mboga na matunda kwenye mashamba yao.
Currently, an egg from indigenous chicken retails at 25 shillings to 30 shillings compared to those from hybrid layers which retail for 11 to 15 shillings. Well, that story brings to a close business news for tonight, but you can find more stories on our website, www.kbc.co.ke. Up next is the Forex market report and also how shares have been trading for the better part of the day. My name is Carol Jenger. Have a good night.
Machozi ni ya kipenzi chako Lea. Kwaje mpaka huyu wakili akakuwa na makaratasi nyumbani kwake? Sina dhani shemeji yangu ndo afawe na karatasi nyumbani kwake.
Kwa nini mimi? Maya, leo utaniambia utoka wapi ama pia utanificha?
Sikiliza wewe. Kama uwezi niongelesha mimi kwa heshima, tafadhali usiniongeleshe.
Pigwa mimi. Umeshindwa baba. She is too much for you.
Serikali ya Rais Uhuru Kenyatta imeweka mikakati kabambe ya kuinua viwango vya tasnia ya michezo nchini Kenya.
My government has and will continue to support you.
Mikakati hii ni pamoja na ujumuishaji wa michezo kwenye mtaala mpya wa elimu ya umilisi KBC.
So if they start introducing that at the lower level, and then this kid grows knowing that he's an athlete, he'll get into very high levels at a very young age.
Kwa uhondo huu,
good evening. My name is Richard Munga with the day's sports. Now on to a top story today, whereby Her Excellency the First Lady of Kenya, Margaret Kenyatta, has today officially launched the Birmingham 2022 Commonwealth Games in Kenya. While receiving the Queen's baton relay from National Olympic Committee of Kenya Chair Paul Tergat at State House, Nairobi, the First Lady said the tradition of the Queen's baton has helped strengthen relations amongst Commonwealth countries as well as territories. In preparation for the 2022 Birmingham Commonwealth Games, the Queen's Baton Relay started its tour of the 72 member nations and territories on the 7th of October at Buckingham Palace. And after touring 7 countries, it finally arrived in Kenya early this week.
We're just absolutely thrilled that we'll be hosting the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham in 2022. And we'll be inviting over 6,000 athletes from 72 countries across the Commonwealth. And I hope to see many of our champion sports people that are in the room today, and many, many others there, we know Kenya will send a very strong team.
The baton carries a message from Her Majesty the Queen for all Commonwealth members to be unveiled at the opening of the Games next July.
NOC Chairman Paul Tergat, on his part, commending Kenya's First Lady Margaret Kenyatta for her contribution to nurturing athletes' talent in the country, as well as social change through the Beyond Zero Marathon.
Personally, I'm very touched that you have been a #1 sports person for this country to go to reach where we have reached. It's because when I see you every day, especially when you do the Beyond Zero Marathon, it shows the passion that you have, because you are the biggest ambassador to all of us in this country.
Sports Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohamed promising the government support in preparing Kenyan athletes who will be participating in the Commonwealth Games next year in Birmingham.
As we had agreed before with Your Excellency, we have taken over the Kenyan team that won the under-20. So now Team Kenya from the under-20 is going to be prepared to go and represent us at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham next year.
To everyone who has participated in supporting the event in Kenya, and wish the Queen's Baton Relay every success in its journey ahead. We look forward to the Commonwealth Games to be held in Birmingham in 2022, and now declare the Games officially launched here in Kenya.
The Queen's Baton Relay is set to resume its tour of Commonwealth countries tomorrow, where it shall head out to Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, Malawi, amongst other African nations, before it departs for Asia on the 27th of December. Meanwhile, former league champions Gor Mahia climbed to the top of the FKF Premier League table after a goalless draw against Ulinzi Stars. In another match, defending champions Tusker FC came from a goal down to register a 2-1 victory over Police FC.
Defending champions Tusker came from a goal down to register a 2-1 victory over Police FC. Samuel Ndungu opened the score in the second minute for Police, with Joshua Ibrahim putting the score on level 3 minutes later. Shami Kibwana's 40th minute penalty secured a win for the Brewers, who now placed 10th in the standings.
Hakuna uoga, tapambana tu, lakini lazima tukue tu, hata kama game leo ilikuwa si rahisi. Hiyo hakuna game rahisi ile ushashinda. Lazima ujipange unapoleka kwenye hiyo mechi.
The top flight is set to take a break after this weekend's matches to allow the national team, Harambee Stars, prepare for their two remaining 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Uganda and Rwanda on November 11th and November 15th respectively. Daniel Mwendwa, Sports.
Also, Vihiga Queens left the country Wednesday afternoon ahead of the inaugural CAF Women's Champions League set to kick off this Friday in Egypt. Vihiga Queens will open their campaign with a tricky tie against South Africa's Mamelodi Sundowns.
Vihiga Queens left the country Wednesday afternoon ahead of their opening match this Saturday against Mamelodi Sundowns. Despite losing the league title in just concluded season, in the playoff stage, Vihiga Queens made amends by earning qualifications to the Champions League after claiming victory in the CECAFA regional qualifier staged in Nairobi. The Kenyan girls beat Ethiopian Central Bank in the final, making amends after losing to the same side in their first group stage match. The 2021 tournament will be held from 5th to 19th of November this year. A total of 8 teams will compete in the group stages of this year's tournament. Daniel Mwendwa for Prime Edition Sports.
Internationally, Cristiano Ronaldo's 92nd minute goal ensured that Manchester United secured a point after playing out to a 2-2 draw away to Atalanta. Meanwhile, reigning champions Chelsea moved closer to the last 16 of the Champions League with a hard-fought 1-0 win over Malmo in Sweden. Oh, that's all the time we had for sports tonight, but don't go too fast. Serfine Achieng is on the other side of the studio, followed by The Rave. Do have a good night.
Indeed, and that's how we wrap it up. I don't want to take any more time. Junior Dread and DJ Stano are already in studio, ready to take you through a night of entertainment like no other. So do stay for that. Keep watching KBC Channel 1. But thank you so much from Anne Wangeshi and myself. Thank you for watching. Have a good night and God bless.